Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lincoln Lorain County Page. I'm here today with Melly.
Hi.
Melly is going to share her story of recovery with us. So we're just going to start by letting Melly tell us a little bit about her and, where life started and a little bit about her beginnings.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melly Gill. I'm a Pacific Islander. I'm from a Republic of Palau. I came to America when I was 18, and I am an alcoholic and recovering drug addict.
And how long have you been sober now?
My sobriety date is July 4th, 2020. So a little bit over 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Which is a huge accomplishment.
Yes.
So when did you tell us a little bit about family life, growing up. Was there history of struggle of alcohol and things like that in your family or?
Yes, absolutely. So growing up, again, it was like a normal life. Um, I was raised by my grandparents, and I remember my grandfather had his bottle of Jack beside his wheelchair. It was paraplegic. My grandmother, I distinctly remember her having a bottle of vodka on the back of the mirror, and she will go to the farm 5 o'clock in the morning, and that bottle of vodka would stay there, but it will go less and less every day. My uncles, my aunts didn't drink, but my uncles, it seems like a big transformation at night, and I remember hiding knives and taking my grandmother to my uncle's house on the other side of the island because my other uncles would just cause a lot of chaos around town. They would go to jail, they would come home, break stuff, and that was just like a normal life growing up for me. I didn't think anything of it, that it was alcoholism. I really didn't think so. I just thought that my uncle was mad, and that's what he did when he was mad. And now that I'm sober, I kind of see the pattern. Like when I'm sober, I'm such a good person, but when I drink, I'm a whole different person, and that's what my family was growing up.
So even living on an island away from, you know, good old America,
Yeah.
still the same experiences as far as substances go.
Yeah.
So when did it become a problem for you? When did you realize you had a problem with it?
I never really thought I had a problem until I ended up in a mental ward on July 3rd, 2020, and it was in COVID. So I was supposed to be there for 14 days, no matter what. It was quarantine time. And they had these classes, and I would attend these classes, and they will ask if you're alcoholic, if you have problem with drugs and alcohol. And I would always say no. And the reason why I was there was I got caught. I went to jail and I got caught, and I ended up in a mental ward because I thought I was going out of my mind. So they offered me to either go to rehab or they're going to take me to St. Thomas. I'm sorry, Safe Haven. And I didn't know what rehab was. I really didn't know what it was, and I didn't think I had a problem. They told me I had a problem. I just had to go to course because that was the next plan of action because they were going to kick me out regardless.
So started to cause legal problems in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was from one relationship to the next to feel that partnership, to find that partner that will match what I was doing in my life. And I became very abusive. Again, I'm running from the law and I'm pointing fingers at everybody. Didn't think that I was the one that had a problem. I just felt like they would not give me the freedom to be me. How surreal was that thinking, to think that I did not have a problem?
So looking for a codependent all the time.
All the time. I always needed that person to do the right thing so I can do my thing, to pay the bills and take care of the house. Well, I started doing smoking when I was like 7. It was never a problem for me. I was still a kid living in a home.
Mhm.
And I carried that through till I came to America. And I found a partner that gave me the same lifestyle. He would take care of the house, and I would just do what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
I never grew up to learn how to be able to take care of a house and paying bills and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So when he stopped working for me, I was tossing a tantrum because I didn't know no better. I
Mhm.
thought that this is what I was supposed to do as your partner, which I was not giving anything to the table to
Yeah.
begin with.
Mhm. So you
So
were never given the skills of how to be an adult in a responsible
no,
relationship or anything like that.
no, not at all.
Mhm. So, how much of a part do you think mental health played in your journey of recovery and your choice to use substances?
It dawned on me, now that I'm sober, that I started going to the mental ward back in 2012.
Mhm.
And that's when my addiction took a hardcore.
Mhm.
I was not just drinking, I was using other things. And I thought that I was mentally ill. So I made this thought that my dad was paraplegic because he has multiple sclerosis. I thought because he was mentally ill. So I thought I was too. So when I
Mhm.
went in there, I ran with it, and I got prescribed by all these drugs. They told me I was bipolar. I couldn't sleep, so I was taking trazodone, all these different kind of drugs, and I thought, because they know better, I thought that I was defected.
Mhm.
And when I got sober, I used those things to keep me afloat, because my thought process was, it was so evil. I was so angry and so
Mhm.
evil.
Mhm.
And I thought that I would never get back to normal, whatever normal that was.
Mhm.
I couldn't think for myself. My confidence went low once I got sober. I couldn't even look at anybody in the face because I thought that I was supposed to be just this person full of, this medicine, because I belong in the mental ward.
Mhm.
I have stopped taking those things. I have taken the steps to work on myself for this past couple of years. And what I found was, I am I was very codependent at thinking that I was okay. When I thought that I was okay being sick, that was good enough. But when I knew that I was normal, that was the hardest part of sobriety for me. I had
Mhm.
to work Monday to Sunday, sun up to sundown, to get the therapy that I needed, to be honest, and to work the program the best of my abilities, because my way of thinking was, well, I cannot sleep, so I have to take this medicine that they gave me to feel
Mhm.
normal, to be normal. Well,
Mhm.
I had to learn how to go to sleep in a regular time, to eat in a regular time, to do stuff in a regular time, to use clock as clock should be.
Mhm.
And it took me about a year and a half to realize that I'm okay. I'm not mentally defected.
Mhm. So it's a combination of not really having the skills how to live life responsibly and using substances to try and
Hmm.
function, you know?
And like I said, it's my first time going to rehab, so I didn't know any better.
Mhm.
And the people that was there giving me this medicine, they were doing what they thought was good, which I really appreciated it. But
Mhm.
I just had to really dig down. Like I said, my sponsor said we got to dig down to the roots,
Mhm.
and try to figure out what was I really struggling with. And it was, the no skills and just running my life run riot. That's
Mhm.
basically it.
Yeah, no structure, no.
Yeah. The only
Yeah.
structure I had was the use drinking and drugging to get
Mhm.
myself out of myself.
Yeah. So, when did you decide that you wanted to be sober?
Well, again, I didn't think that I had a problem. So when they took me to rehab, and I really didn't want to be there, because one, I've never been in a room full of just women, didn't know how it was to be sober, was not looking to be sober.
Mhm.
Then a couple of weeks later, when everything just sets in, and I realized that this is what I've done with my life. The people that I was listening to, the one of the girls had 30 days sober. So she was talking this program. It's a whole nother vocabulary, a whole nother language for me. This too shall pass, one day at a time, get a sponsor, work your steps. And I'm like, what are all those things? the things
Mhm.
that the tools that we get trying to get to stay sober.
Mhm.
And I'm like, so am I really an addict? Am I really an addict? Am I really an alcoholic? I really have a problem. And he sunk in like a bag of bricks on my head.
Mhm.
Like I have a problem. And it was all in my control.
Mhm.
And nobody was at fault the whole time. I was full of shame, guilt, and remorse. When they say that, I felt it. Everything
Mhm.
that was said in this program, I have felt it in that moment of my whole entire life.
Mhm.
Never once did I thought that it was that bad, but it was that bad.
Mhm.
I've been to jail more times, 23 times. I went to the mental ward, like I said,
Mhm.
15, 16 times and counting.
Mhm.
Never once did I think I had a problem.
Yeah, till you had that moment of clarity, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. So then you decided to get busy in the program?
Well, I decided to let go of what I knew. And
Mhm.
that's when it started really working for me. Because all my life I had to be in control of things because I raised myself. Therefore everything that I know worked for me.
Mhm.
And once I got myself into that place where they told me, why are you acting that way? You cannot flirt nice with people, which I didn't mean to, but it's the way that I approach. It was when I let go of myself, that's when
Mhm.
everything started coming and I was willing to do anything that they were telling me
Mhm.
because I felt fear.
Mhm.
Fear because my mind is starting to slow down and think,
Mhm.
and guilt because of the things that I've done. And I can just feel and hear people's voices. And it's coming in a ton of brick like, you're hurting me. That's not right. You're bullying me. You're stealing from me. And it's all coming in. The things
Mhm.
that I never really thought about because I was so busy on myself, I started to hear those things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it was that surrender moment,
Yeah.
and like you said, you let go of your will
Hmm.
and decided to do something different.
What's the hardest thing I've ever had to do?
Mhm.
But somehow it was one of the easiest things because I was in that room with the women.
Mhm.
And that's why anybody, any woman that is in, any rehab, I will make that drive. I will make that
Mhm.
phone call. I will take that phone call because
Mhm.
I know exactly how that felt.
Mhm. So even being forced to be there
Hmm.
in the rehab, and it wasn't your choice, or you didn't even think you had a problem, but it still happened.
Yeah, it still happened.
Mhm. So there's a lot of people that think you can't, court order somebody to treatment. It's not going to make, but that's not always true, right?
Hmm.
Because sometimes you hear something that makes all the difference and the light bulb comes on, and
Yeah.
now all of a sudden you have a new way of thinking.
I usually picture myself like I was just sitting on the coconut tree in the island till
Hmm.
somebody hit my head with a coconut and be like, hey, this is reality.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa. That I was so into myself. I didn't
Hmm.
hear anything.
Hmm.
And it took, again, by the grace of God, it took me to a place where I can sit and think, and it all started, coming together and decluttering my mind, and all
Hmm.
these little things are coming in. I've never saw it coming.
Hmm. So throughout your recovery journey, you've had some pretty hard things happen, right?
Yeah.
Some traumatic things, some difficult, emotional things. What got you through that?
So one of the biggest things was I had this sponsor that loved me so much
Mhm.
that no matter what I did, and she knew what I was doing, and no matter how I felt, she always have the same tone when she talks to me. Like, no matter what, I love you. This is your life. Whatever you do, this is your life.
Mhm.
And it made me feel guilty of lying or skipping a meeting or doing that. So those are the little foundation. And before I got my first year coin, I found out I was pregnant, and then I lost that baby. I was consumed by what would happen if I go to the hospital and they give me narcotics.
Mhm.
That was the biggest thing in my head because I'm in pain, and that's what I was thinking about. I've never thought about getting anywhere in that situation. I was full of fear because I was living in a sober living, and that's to be honest with you.
Mhm.
And that was like one of the biggest change because I never really care what anybody thought about me.
Mhm.
I never really care where I end up, is what I wanted to do. But
Mhm.
the fear, because these women, we grow with each other in these walls, and we say, these other women say, we came back and we OD'd and we came back and we're still here. I couldn't see myself going back out and coming here. Okay.
Mhm.
I was very suicidal.
Mhm.
My family found out who I was. That
Mhm.
was like the biggest thing. And I keep telling myself, like, they told me that if no matter what you call us and you don't drink, you can always come back. And they stood to their word because I went back to home 13 months sober. I called them up and I said, I can't do this. I need to come back. And they let me come back. And so I reached out wherever I could. And I always say, and this is going to be funny because I always say, if I ever call AA and they don't pick up or have a solution for me, I will drink.
Mhm.
They always had a solution.
Mhm.
They always picked up. So that's part of my story that I know that one of them people, I want to say I statement. I know that if I call them, I'm saved. And
Mhm.
that's why I haven't went back out yet.
Mhm. But you had to have the courage to make the call, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
To make the call and really believe that they love me, that they will show up for me,
Mhm.
and that it's not, they don't want anything but just to see somebody, you know, keep
Yeah.
going.
Mhm. So, how important is the spiritual aspect of your recovery?
I got baptized um in 2021. The very next day I found out I was pregnant.
Mm.
It's my first pregnancy, and the overwhelming feeling of God has really touched in my life. I have really, I've He heard me, but this time I'm in the right path. And when I lost that baby, somebody said, why not you?" And I didn't want to hear it, but
Mhm.
he says, "Why not you?" I have to be an example, a messenger of how this works through Christ. And for the first time, I feel like I'm not alone because my church family never left me alone. My prayers were always the same. It's for other people but myself. Um, Today, and I'm going to fast forward today. I'm I'm being a member of my church.
Mhm.
I'm taking classes. I'm doing women's Bible study because God has shown up in my life multiple times. This has been my fifth miscarriage, and He has carried me through it with my health and my family. The
Mhm.
things that I almost lost my boyfriend from, he almost died, and the power of prayer in my life, in my shoulders,
Mhm.
keeps me through. Because a person like me, I am a very proud sinner back in the day, but today I'm very humbled to say thank Him for carrying that cross for me,
Mhm.
because I never believed that He would have chosen me to stay alive, and a lot of good people passed away.
Mhm.
But I found my purpose today. And today is because of Him that I found my purpose.
Mhm.
And that's, I cannot explain it. If you
Mhm.
ask my mom, she'd probably explain it better.
Mhm.
She calls me a blessing all the time. There
Mhm.
was once upon a time she had fear in her eyes.
Mhm. Yeah, so she sees that total transformation, right?
Yeah, she still can't believe it.
Yeah. So what do you do today to stay sober?
Well, the three things that I learned is to rely on God, to
Mhm.
clean house, and help another alcoholic. The clean house mean that I would do my best in my life to be honest and open and kind to myself. Not only do I sponsor women today, but I do have a couple of home groups that I go to, be present as much as I can. I um I try to live by the principles of this program, which I may lose a job or lose a relationship or lose a car, but it's the same thing that I always do. I try my best that I can, and if I have a problem, I call somebody. I'm not ashamed to call somebody as soon as I leave Bible study and say the devil is on my back, and can you please drive me home? And she will stay on the phone with me while I will go and get a sparkling water, because I am still an alcoholic, and that's the very honest truth, that I will get that sparkling water and drink it and go
Mhm.
straight home.
Mhm.
I'm very open and honest with myself, on
Mhm.
the things that I don't brush it off. I don't say, well, the carbonation. No, it's needed, and I need that, and I need to go home, take off my shoes, put my keys on top, and pray and go to sleep. Stay in the middle of the bed, and that's what I do today. And it has worked. He has not failed me yet.
So you're busy in your program. You
Yes,
sponsor. Mhm.
I do sponsor. I have a sponsor that has a sponsor. I'm leading, as a matter of fact, for my sponsor this weekend.
Mhm.
And I try the best that I could to be present in areas of my life. And my kids know. I have two little girls that always ask me, like, you want to spend time on Saturday? And they're like, oh, you're going to get donuts because you're going to a meeting. And I become one of them people. I become one of them people because I remember 4 days sober and somebody was saying that. And I just could not fathom myself being that woman that has that life.
Mhm.
And them people that came and did our meetings in the rehab that I was in, I thank them every day because
Mhm.
I look at them and I say, I want to be just like you.
Mhm.
And one day I look up and they said, this time next year, your life will be so different.
And the miracle happened, right?
Yeah.
You hung around long enough for the miracle to happen.
And I started to believe it.
Mhm.
It took me a long time to really believe in myself that I can be a
Mhm.
good person, that I can be a part of the community and be needed and appreciated.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, any advice for somebody out there who might still be struggling?
There are so many things, but if you really want that help, you know where to go
Mhm.
and stay willing. Because I've seen a lot of good friends that are just still struggling out there, and we knowledge alone cannot keep us sober.
Mhm.
I can know the book back and front, but it would not keep me sober unless I do the work and move my feet.
Mhm.
And if I want to be honest with myself, I just have to keep doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So honesty, willingness, and
Mhm.
persistence, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. Well, thank you very much, Melly.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you sharing your
Oh,
story
it's
and
an
your
honor.
knowledge and wisdom and
Yeah.
experience.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will be encouraged by your story. And
Mhm.
if you can do it, anybody can, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's nobody exempt from recovery.
It's
Mhm.
crazy. Every time you say them little things, it reminds me of that very first day where they
Mhm.
say, if I can do it, you can do it. And I look at him and I'm like, but you're
Mm.
very polished. How can I be like that?
Mhm.
And it's not the polish, is the serenity that you get to feel when you know
Mhm.
that you're doing something good, that
Mhm.
you're gonna be okay. The toolbox
Yeah.
is full.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And now you're that woman.
Yay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.